wet tonight.
Yeah. Looks like my show's about to start. Sooner or later, you know. Okay, well, hello everybody. Welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with a guitar, and they used to call me on the phone. They ask me questions, about the questions like, "Hey man, what's your show about?" I say, "Well, it's about an hour about guitar players, guitar playing, all things guitaristic." So here's the deal. I mean, you can't call anymore. We don't have a phone hooked up. Nobody calls anymore. It's all about text messages and stuff. You can tweet me, but anyway. So here we discuss guitars, guitar players, all things guitaristic. We talk about other related topics, not just how to play your guitar, but how to play your guitarrón, your guitarra, your sitar, your chitoles, your lutes, uds, vihuelas, banjos, balalaikas, bazookies, bajos, sextos, bajos, cincos, bandurias and bandoras and bandolims and mandolins and mandoras and mandocellos.
Sax and violins on TV.
There we go. Sax and violins, yes. And trombones and trombomarinas and pipe organs and piccolos and cornetos, cornholts, sackbuts and saxophones, harmoniums and harpsichords and harmonicas.
Alpenhorns, bagpipes, and concertinas.
There we go, yeah. If you can make music on it, I bought myself a triangle. You go ding on, yeah. Or, politics, world events, your own personality problems. I mean, this is, it's a family show, though. We'll keep it clean, all right? All right, so this is Guild Fest. My own private Guild Fest here. And so I brought some Guild electric guitars. This one here is a Polera. kind of a reissue throwback to an earlier era. I think it was their answer to the Gibson SG back in the 60s. So this one is much newer. Another thing I did is I have this amp here, and I felt myself getting pale for a minute there. Anyway, but yeah, this is a PV VK50, a Valve King. It's a tube amp made by PV, and it makes a little bit of noise, and I was trying to, because I have another one I've had on the show several times. I think I've had this on the show. I've had this for a while, but I put it on consignment in a guitar shop, and I also try to get them to take the noise, see if they could figure out how to get the noise, the little noise it makes, I don't hear it here though, but I don't know. And they couldn't do it, and then I just recently, look, my guitar's invisible. This is a very white guitar. The computer's, okay. So, to make my short, boring story just a little bit longer, I borrowed another one from a guitar shop, the Pro Shop actually over here in town, just a little while ago, took it home, and it was nearly as noisy as this one is. So I figured, I like the sounds I get out of this thing, this PV Valve King thing here. So I decided to keep it and deal with it, Another boring story is I have a Roland JC, as in Jazz Chorus 40 amp, stereo thing, and it tends to make a hissing sound. But when I play it outdoors at the Tuscan Moon, which is what I've been doing lately, it sounds just fine. I don't hear the hiss when I'm outdoors. I'm not really hearing much here, but when it's like right next to my head at home, anyway, it's boring, I know. But I'm just trying to. I want everything to be really clean. I think deep down what I want to do is I want to play classical guitar in a little concert hall, with no trouble with audiences, they cough and stuff like that. So just maybe all by myself in a nice little room somewhere, Anyway, but that's my story. Let's see. Oh yeah, there we go. How about this one? Okay. I have to remember what this one's called again. It's a Guild. I know what it's called, it just slipped my mind. Anyway, this one, a Bluesbird. This is a Bluesbird, a Guild Bluesbird. Also a reissue, a throwback of a previous generation. And this is a lot like a Les Paul. The body's a little bit larger, but it's hollowed out. It has like empty spots, like it has like air inside, like pockets of, and it's a, and actually, pardon me while I yawn. Yeah. Wow, listen to that. It's much lighter than a Les Paul, because there's, as I said, a lot of the wood's scooped out of the inside. And it has these Seymour Duncan pickups on it, and it's actually, I love this guitar. I don't like it. I love it. Anyway, I got this one black, the other one's white. I just. So my other thing, so not only am I playing my guilds this week, as opposed to like the classical flamenco things I like to play mostly, I'm playing through the Valve King amp, which is a pretty good tube amp. Interesting, it's not that expensive, as far as tube amps go. But just for fun, I'm using a different kind of noise reduction than I usually do. Let's see if I need it on this thing. Not bad. This is about noise reduction. I'm using the, instead of the Humdebugger, which has certain charms but has other problems, I'm using this Smart Gate, which is a noise gate. And I have it kind of dialed up to about noon on the knob and the full power noise reduction. And it actually works pretty well. And then for my looper, I'm using the Electro Harmonix 360. EHX, as in Electro Harmonix. And it's actually a very good looper. The only thing about it is it's controlled slightly differently from like the other ones, like the Boss one that is, like the Boss or even the Ditto, the TC Electronics Ditto, where you, when you want it to stop, you can push it and then hold it for like a second and a half, you know. But this time you have to push it twice to make it stop, and then you have to push it again to erase it. So I guess, you know, you're less likely to erase your loop forever. But another virtue this one has that the TC Electronics little Ditto doesn't have is that you can actually save your loops. I wonder what's on there. I think I had something on there before, but I got nothing better to do. Maybe I'll find out. Let's see if I can hang on. Pardon me while I grovel on the floor. Maybe I didn't put anything on there. Huh. Bob was telling me about how you certain kind of medications you have to take when you're older. Sometimes you bend over and you get up and you're about ready to pass out. I haven't quite done it yet. Although that might make a more interesting TV show. But anyway, hang on here. I'm going to do a little fooling around here with this. Mr. Skowinski, he doesn't look as wet as you came. Look, when you came in here, Bob.
Must have slacked off.
A little bit, yeah. He's If you're watching this on Friday night, it may or may not be raining. I hope not, because if you're watching, well, no, I would be home, or I'd be on my way home by now. And if you watch it at 11 o'clock on Friday, but
Where will you be on Friday night?
well, I'll be at the Tuscan Moon in beautiful downtown Kelowna, Iowa, on Friday night, and Saturday night for that matter. And I'll be playing there in about 6:30, something like that, until the party's over, whenever that might be, 9:30, 10, something like that. Playing my guitar. I hope out in the patio. It's predicted that it'll be extremely hot this weekend. Like, heat index is over 100 and all that stuff. So we'll see if I'm going to be prepared to be inside or outside. But I will be in Kelowna at which is about 20 miles south of Iowa City on Highway 1 or Highway 22. I prefer 22, but go down Highway 218 and keep telling me it's exit 80. So turn off at Riverside, the future birthplace of Captain Kirk, and then roll on into Kelowna, the next town over. And anyway, yeah, I'll be there Friday, Saturday night, and now this will be my third week, I assume, at the Northside Bistro, which is in Iowa City on the corner of North Lynn, and Market Streets, and right there, yeah.
Right downtown.
Yeah, the near north side, I think you'd call it.
Yeah.
It was a bookstore for a while, not far from the Hamburgian landmark. George's Buffet, of course, is right down the street.
A couple blocks from the senior center.
Yeah, not far from there either, so it's easy to find. I'll be there. It's from 6 until 9. Now, there I don't start later because the party usually starts around 6, and then the place just sort of like folds up and dies. It's at 9. It's a restaurant. I mean, it's a bar and restaurant, but it's mostly a restaurant, as is Tuscan Moon. But it's a nice place, actually. Andy, the chef, owner, has been really good. I've met him over the years. He runs a sushi joint in Coralville too, and I think he's Vietnamese. His ancestor. He's Vietnamese, actually, and he does a lot of different kinds of things. But he just has a sushi place, and this is like,
ask him if he serves pho.
Yeah. Okay. Pho.
Yeah, that's Vietnamese noodle soup.
Oh, okay. I'll probably forget that by Thursday, but I'll try to remember. Maybe I should watch the rebroadcast right before I go in. No, that'll be enough.
When we're off the air, I'll tell you the name of one of them out in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. It's a family show.
Yeah, I know, that's why I'm going to wait till we're off the
I
air.
appreciate that. I hate to have it. Anyway, so I'm there on Thursdays. And
we lost our
we got the
picture.
blue screen. We got the
Blue screen.
Blue screen, kiss of death. Oops. Doop. Ah,
There we are.
back again. Okay. Yeah, what was I
What
saying?
am I? Oh, I'm behind your amplifier. Maybe I
yeah.
should move over a little.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you could be peering up over the amp, or I could move the amp. But, yeah, okay, yeah, okay.
Kilroy.
Yeah, there we go. Kilroy was here. But,
I'll probably stroll through Beef Days Friday and Saturday.
oh, really?
I should be long home by the time it's 11:30.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I played it. It was
Well, the young people will still be out. They shut the music off at midnight.
Yeah. I just remember, I used to, I played a gig at Soul and Beef Days, but it was at the level of alcohol abuse that this was amazing to me, and I live in Iowa City.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's 'cause they toned that down a little bit, or is it?
Well, they've limited the spaces where it's allowed.
I see.
It used to be they were all over town,
Yeah, I know.
and too many people were leaving themselves in people's yards and other antisocial activities. So now they've fenced off a couple blocks of Main Street, and you can only have open beer inside those. Can't carry anything in or out.
Yeah. That
So
might help a
they're
little
probably drinking as much beer as they ever did, but they're doing it all within 2 or 3 blocks of Main Street,
bit. I see. Okay.
or on Main Street within a 2 or 3 block area.
I see. That's good to say. Gives me a headache just looking at people at that level. I mean, I was playing early in the day, and there was some guy who, there's a big concrete stage there that I was on. If this lady's probably still there, right?
Yeah, it's still there,
Yeah.
by what we call the Mushroom Park,
Yeah. 'Cause it's,
which is where the beer tent is too.
I see. Well, this was close to the beer tent, and I know some guys, they're like, were like
Yes.
leaning up against that when they were like sitting there, and you could almost see the little bubbles popping, like in a cartoon. But anyway, never mind.
Yeah, back in the olden days when they were all over town, my son and 2 of his cousins went out and collected $100 worth of beer cans one weekend.
Yeah. Well, that's dealing in semi-precious metals.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Now it's all plastic cups.
Yeah. That's not as good. Not as easy to recycle. Not worth anything. But they're going to change the bottle bill here in this, but I don't know if it ever.
Yeah, I see the grocery stores are all crying for that.
Well, they don't want to deal with it, but just think of the economy.
Yeah.
How do you think about that? Because on one hand, there are people who that's what they do for a living. What would they do? That's one of these problems you have.
Well, I've seen other places people doing that, and all they're getting is a scrap aluminum price, which is like maybe a penny a piece.
Yeah, if they're lucky. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I would. A nickel is much better, but also you don't have to go too far, to get
Right.
recycled. You could take your bicycle and your little trailer that's made out of a kid's, stroller, and have huge piles of cans
Or a shopping cart.
Yeah.
That's a pretty common item for collecting cans.
I suppose, you can get those for free.
Yeah.
But I see people go. I live fairly close to a Hy-Vee, and I see people trudging up the street with these enormous bags full of cans.
Right.
So that's what they do for a living. I know this is not the sort of thing I say in a family show, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to smoke any cannabis personally because I'm trying to keep like over 1,000 songs in my head, and I'm maybe losing the battle, with my sanity, and I don't think it would help my memory, but I don't object to it. I think it's like probably better for people than alcohol, but still, if they made that when they make that legal, think of all the little the small-time dealers there are, who do that for a living. You see, where are they going to go for? What kind of commerce can they get into? Now, of course, this also means that the people who are used to buying something reasonably innocent like cannabis on the black market will get used to dealing in the black market, whereas if it's legal, they won't.
Yeah, it's legal in Washington. That's kind of odd. You drive down the street and there's a bud shop.
Yeah, and Colorado and Oregon, I think California now too. So, there's a whole bunch of states, and but it's big business. But the small time, whether they're growers and dealers, because I knew people, back, especially when I lived in California a long time ago, who they would they'd be broke, but they'd scrape up enough money to get a small bag of weed, and some papers, and they'd roll them up, and they'd go out in the street and they would sell the little joints, on just the street corner, and then they get enough money to buy a bigger bag, and they roll even more of these things, you see, and then they sell those on the street, and after a while they had enough money to buy a big bag, and then in which case they'd break it up into smaller bags, and sell those to people who go out and roll them up and sell them on the street or whatever like that, and then you work your way up, you see, these entrepreneurs. So I knew a guy who did that, called him Reefer Ray, so reefers, and because he would be down in his luck, and he wasn't really he was kind of I don't know. The way he would eat was he'd go into the store, Cala Foods, and he would poke his finger in here and then take a few of those and eat that, and he'd forage his way. And then buy a stick of gum on his way out. You see. So he would eat it at the store,
Right.
Through the aisles, and they didn't have as many security cameras in those days, just the big mirrors. This is a long time ago. And then he would, he'd hustle on the street and so forth. But he lived in a real, he used to live in the same building, a hotel I lived in. But You end up living in a cheaper hotel, and there were roaches and stuff. You turn on the light, and all the roaches would go like that. But there was a point when I fell out the bottom end of the economic ladder, and he actually let me sleep on his floor. Now there were roaches around me, but I got to. I mean, it was better. Sleeping on reefer raised floor was actually better than sleeping in the park. Yeah. So I mean, he put me up for a while, but there were a couple of people. There's one guy who. There's a Mexican guy I used to actually was in a mariachi band with once, and when I was came off the bus and somebody was supposed to pick me up and never showed up and this and that. I was walking through the streets with my 2 guitars, mandolin, and duffel bag. Yeah. It was oversized load up and down those hills, and then I didn't know where to go, what to do, and then I ran into this guy that I knew, and he let me sleep on his floor. But he had a little hotel room with a floor, but he had carpeting. And it was like, you know, I slept there for a few days, and then I got a situation, you know. So.
We went out to San Francisco on vacation one time, and the motel we were staying at had a hedgerow alongside their parking lot. Mm-hmm. And every morning, if you got out there, all the homeless people, you'd see them sleeping behind that hedge next to the parking lot there. Mm-hmm. They'd be rolling out in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Well, back in the old days, there weren't nearly so many homeless people, and there were.
How long ago was it? Because that's
70s.
That's when we were out there. You know, I was still working then. That was a regular vacation. I wasn't on vacation all the time like I am now.
Yeah, this is like, I was there from 76 until 79.
And like 81 or 82, we went down to New Orleans in the wintertime, and there's people sleeping in doorways all over down there in the mornings.
Yeah. Well, just in those days, though, you know, like in the 70s or whatever, the homeless... There weren't nearly as many homeless people, and they were usually like, you know, winos a lot of times. And now there are a lot more people who aren't, you know.
Well, an awful lot of them are addicted to something or else schizophrenic.
There's that. There's a lot of that, of course. But you see, the thing is, back in my day, you could get a hotel room, you know, it was like $25 a week, right? It was a working town. San Francisco was a working town. There were nice places and fancy houses and nice hotels and stuff and tourist attractions. But then beyond that, you know, in the other streets and other layers, there were these you get a little hotel room with a sink in the corner and the bathroom down the hall. You could take a shower, you know. You could. It's hard to figure out a way to feed yourself, but you could live. You could have a little bed and a you know, on a dresser and a sink in the corner, and it's, you know, quite affordable. $25 is really cheap, and they're probably really funky.
I remember when Motel 6 came to Peoria, and they were $6 a night.
Yeah, well, that's why they called it Motel 6. Yeah. I remember that. Coralville, that used to be. Now it's like 50 or something, 60. Motel 60, I guess. But anyway, the things have changed.
They changed their franchise. They're a Motel 7 now.
Oh, I see. Really? Yeah.
Our command staff said that the cost of the room's up to $7 now. I'll bet it's a lot higher than that.
Yeah, no, it's like 50 or 60. Yeah. You see it in the Coralville when you go.
Yeah. Well, it used to be I'd stop there and they had a directory. Mm-hmm. I'd stop and get their directory on the way out of town when we headed west. But well, the Motel 6s don't have it anymore, and Motel 7 obviously wouldn't have had a Motel 6 book anyway. But.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Super 8 used to be $8. It was. I used to stay at Super 8 motels a long time ago, but mostly I just sleep in the car if I'm going someplace, you know, because I don't want to fly because they do things to your guitar, and I don't want to get a motel because it's expensive, and, you know, just stay home. But I mean, the thing is, though, all those like really cheap hotel rooms, I knew a lot of people who lived in them, and you could be a part-time waiter, you know.
I'm informed that this will be a 2-camera shoot tonight. Camera 3 just won't stay on.
I see. Yeah, Special K was working on that earlier. He was trying to get the thing to stay in. I think it's the cables.
Yeah, they've got a bad connector on it where.
Yeah. Well, we're a nonprofit organization. These cables are expensive. And, one thing you learn how to do when you come to PATV is wrap cables properly. Anyway, so I'll probably go back to this guitar. This is Probably my favorite one, the sound of this one, has a Seymour Duncan pickups on it. It doesn't have the Guild pickups. And sounds pretty good. Now there's a bright button I can push. And it sounds like this. Well, that crisped it up quite a bit, didn't it? All right. That was fun, but hang on. I'm going to get to my other one here in a second. There we go. PV. Let's make some sort of pun about my pet PV. I don't know. I have two PV amps, Valve Kings. I have a VK20, which is a 20-watt head-cab combination, which is a head on top of a speaker cabinet, so it's in two pieces. Oops. There we go. Now this one is one that I'm very fond of in a lot of ways. But I was telling Bob the boring story, waiting for his eyes to glaze over, I got this thing, and when you plug it in at home, it hums something ferocious. It bzzz, like that, you know? And it does pretty badly here, too. Not quite as bad as it seems to at my house, but... So I took it out to West Music thinking I'd just maybe sell it to him. Maybe I'd trade it for something else. I only had this for a little short while, and I haven't paid it off yet. I think I got it from Sweetwater or one of those online places. And it's a Starfire 2, so it doesn't have the Bigsby whammy bar or anything like that. It has the same pickups as that white Polera that I was playing earlier, only this is in a hollow body, very light. It's not a semi-hollow with a big chunk of wood through the top, but it's a hollow body. It's a very lightweight, very easy to play. But if I take the tuner, just you can hear that at home. I'm sure you can hear that fine, can't you, Bob?
Yeah. Yep.
So what I have here, of course, is the smart gate. So I have a noise gate on it, and that takes it away. Now there's a you can see that at my foot here. This is a noise gate. So it basically when there's a little light you can't see, but it when I'm not playing it, like when I'm not making a note, it shuts off the signal. That which is a gate. It's a gate, you know, that lets the sound come through. So while I'm playing, you'd think that the notes that I'm playing will cover up the sound of that hum. Sometimes you lose your attack. See that? Now if I turn it off, I can. Anyway, but it works pretty well. And sometimes I'll use the smart gate and the humdebugger together, but then I lose these, like, sometimes I lose some notes, especially high notes. They get muted, you know, they could get filtered out. So anyway, but, so I took this guitar out to West Music, and I plugged into their Fender Princeton, which I like a lot. I have the 68 reissue Fender Princeton amp, little tube amp, and I didn't know that much about which year I wanted in those days. I just got that one some years ago, and they have the 65 reissue out there, which I like better. The other thing is, like, gee, if I were really crazy, I could have both, or maybe I could trade one for the other one, or something. So I haven't decided what to do, but I really like their 65 reissue. It's like a copy of the 1965 vintage Fender Princeton amp, and I have the 1968 vintage. So. Anyway, so I plugged this thing out there because I was thinking of getting rid of it, and it sounded great. No hum. So I said, wow, that's weird. You know, took it home and plugged it into my 68 reissue. Bzzz, plugged in the Valve King. Bzzz, plugged in the Vox AC10 amp. Bzzz, you know. I didn't even bother with the Blues Deluxe or the Blues Junior. I have a few amps.
So the amp is not the problem.
No. I mean, the hum sounds different through different amps. But so does the guitar. It's just like, a different voice, a different amps. So anyway, so I took it. So on Sunday, and I've been talking to the guy who does the luthier at the Guitar Center up in northern reaches of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. As I say, you can probably see the loading dock from there. I mean, you could probably see the Marion border from their loading dock out back. That's how far north it is. It's there's a shopping center. There's a Collins Road and First Avenue, the corner there. There's a shopping center there next to Dick's Sporting Goods with a big sign. Right up from the Taco John's and the Dollar Tree. Anyway.
Menards is out there too, aren't they?
What?
In Menards out there?
I think if you turn right, yeah, out there some. I haven't been there, but anyway, like down Collins Road, a little farther, anyway, out of town, kind of. But anyway, so I took this one to him because I thought maybe he can make me some new pickups. Like a couple $100 because the guy hand winds pickups, and. So I handed it over to him. He plugged in his little amp. He was playing some other guitar that he was working on, and he plugged it in, and it sounded great up there through his cheap little amp that he has behind the counter that he uses just to test out things he's working on behind the bench. And then he didn't want to put new pickups because it sounds great, and he loves the guitar. Says nice, it's great. I always want to get one of these. Let me know if you want to sell it. And I took it home and I plugged it in, and bzzz, anyway. That's my story. That's my.
Probably need to get a different house.
I should move into the Guitar Center or West Music.
Yeah.
It does hum a bit at the Musician's Pro Shop, which is good for me because it, I was going to say it shows that I'm not crazy. Now, it doesn't show that I'm not crazy, just that I might be crazy, but it really does hum, and it hums here, although not as badly. I mean, if I take this off. Let's see about this one.
Got that 60 cycle buzz.
Yeah. But I've gated it. Okay, so what would happen if I push the right button on this one? It's a lot of guitar. I have a tuner. As you all know, these pedal tuners, the tuning pedals, one thing they usually do, most of them do, is they cut off the sound and they mute the sound so people don't have to hear you tuning or something. That's too sharp too. And I got one of these because I wanted to. I wanted a mute button, and the local guitar shop that I went to had the mute buttons were actually rather expensive, more expensive than a tuner. I figured, well, a tuner do the same thing. The other thing also is it has two outputs, so I could. I'm gonna push this button again here. Quiet. The other thing, so with the, so if I want to, I can actually use this as a splitter. So I can like plug into two different amps or something like that, if I want to, or if I want two signals going out, because one is just the output, and one is the muted. So, and that's all well and good. So I use it for that, and I use a tuning fork, when I tune. Like if I want to tune, I'll use pitchfork. So. See? That should be the same as that note. But, of course, I was in a noisy room and playing somewhere, and I thought, well, I'll just use a tuner. It's a little easier than trying to hear it in a noisy room, And then I started to, I use it a little bit more often. And now I'm using tuners
Habit forming.
most of the time, I'm getting soft. Now I'm having trouble tuning without one. I got the clip-on kind too. I had a little extra money in my pocket, and there was West Music was having this like big clearance sale thing. I forget what it was, Sidewalk Days or something like that out there, and they had these clip-on tuners from Fender. They're only $5, you know. So I bought one. So this is neat. So I bought another one, yeah, and then they had some strings, like special packaging of D'Addario acoustic guitar strings with a really tiny little tuner you could clip on the headstock. And it was actually cheaper than the strings normally would be, and they came in a fancy little metal tin instead of just a cardboard thing. And I don't have any use for like a little tin like that, but it was fun to have. And they had little tuners in there for free. So now I have several tuners, plus the floor model. And I'm losing my abilities, and I slowly but surely. It's like I know people who didn't have a car, you know. They all through school, whatever, and never ride the bus, walk, you know. They walk a lot. Then they get the car, and then they, you know, say, well, you know, I could walk there. It would take me like 20 minutes or half an hour, and I have to walk back with my groceries or something, or I could just take the car. Zip, zip, zip. It's quicker, comfortable. Turn on the radio, the air conditioner, or the heat, or whatever. And then after a while, they get what they call gasoline legs.
I remember when I had cars, manual shift, manual steering, no air, manual windows.
Yeah,
Now they got electric doors.
yeah, yeah. You got doors that bzzz, open like in minivans and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, our minivan, the side door, the back side doors are electric, and the tailgate's electric.
Yeah, somebody who takes lessons from me told me that she's got a car, and if a pedestrian walks in front of you, it slams on the brakes for you.
I've seen those advertised.
Yeah, she's got one. So I'm not gonna go run out in front of her and see what it works, but
Yeah, don't test it.
no. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's like, my first car had electric windows was a '72 Cadillac, and I got it for $900. But yeah.
I think next year all new cars have to have the TV camera on the back of them.
Really? Yeah. Wow. It'd be kind of fun to have a screen to see what's going on. I think I've got a pretty good blind spot on my Dodge there. Yeah. But I've got the cheaper Dodge. It's like it has the manual transmission and it doesn't have that TV screen in the dashboard. When I don't know, you got all kinds of things. But it's sophisticated. You can talk to it and it will talk back. And I haven't figured out how to work that. You can also plug your phone into it and you can tell it to dial your number or whatever. I don't know.
I always wonder about those. My mom had one quite a while back because she had macular degeneration, could barely see. So one of my nieces got her one of those dialing telephones that you talk to.
Yeah.
It was always getting to the wrong number.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, it's a Siri.
It didn't understand who she was trying to call or something. But
yeah. Well, I have to know how to talk to him. We got the Alexa thing at home, and for the longest time, it wouldn't understand my wife talking to it, but I talked to it. It's a little column thing, and it sits on the.
Yeah, I've seen them advertised on TV.
We have one. When it was new, she pre-ordered it, so it was only $99 from Amazon. So when it was new, it came in, and so, I say, Alexa, play Segovia. So it's like all classical guitar for, on and on and on until you tell it to stop. If you subscribe to it, I mostly just ask it, what the temperature is, and it tells me the temperature, and then in Iowa City, it's it's whatever degrees, and then it gives you the weather forecast. You expect showers or sunny weather, more of the same, or whatever. It tells you these things. Metric conversion, how many kilometers in a mile, whatever, or how. I asked it how far. I've got these two gigs now. I'm teaching in two colleges, and there's at Coe College in Cedar Rapids and then Cornell College in Mount Vernon, Iowa. I'm just starting. This will be my 5th year at Coe, but it'll be my 1st year at Cornell. Yeah. But then somebody emailed me from this little college in Canton, Missouri. And
that's kind of a long commute.
Yeah, it's like 111 miles. I asked the robot, how far? How far is Canton, Missouri? Canton, Missouri is 111 miles as the crow flies, or maybe it was 108 or something. But I looked at MapQuest. It was 111 from my house to the college. But anyway. I don't know if I want to go that far. Tempted. I'm a little bit adjunct, but if I were going to get another college, I think Kirkwood.
Yeah.
Or the University of Iowa, but they probably wouldn't want me. They don't have any guitar over there. And anyway. So, anyway. The problem is, if I hit it really lightly, you can hear it at all. So I take this off, you can hear it, along with the hum. All right, I really like this guitar. I just can't play it. So I got my white Polera, my black Bluesbird, and then, of course, this Starfire 2, little dust on it. And part of me wants to sell this thing. Just because I like it, but it's too much trouble. I can't get it to behave. But this one, I don't know. I play these gigs, you know, so at the Tuscan Moon, I've been playing this big blonde jazz box. It's I've had it in the show once or twice. It's the Dean Palomino Solo. So it's a big blonde hollow body guitar with mother of pearl inlay up and down the neck. It's a Dean, it's cheap. But it has one little pickup here. It's a big hollow body. So it's a traditional old-fashioned jazz guitar, not unlike guitars that are around in the late 40s, early 50s. It has a cutaway. They didn't used to always have cutaways in the old days, but and it's very blonde and very pretty, really. And it says Dean on it. And if you know your guitars, you'll say, Dean? Well, anyway, fine with me. So I guess the thing about that, though, is that I think if I walk into some joint and to play guitar, and people, you know, people are like some elderly people there who might not want to see a rock and roller. It's getting less like that because now the elderly people were rock and rollers, you know, in the old days. But you know, I think that if I walk in with something that looks like a rock and roll guitar, they might think, oh no, because they say that anyway. I think especially this gig I have at the North Side Market, North Side Bistro. I walk in there, and there I've discovered that steel string acoustic guitar seems to work the best. I tried my Spanish one, but if I play the folk guitar, I play the heck out of it, of course, but fingerstyle, people like that, I think, and they respond to that. So I do that there. But at the Tuscan Moon now, on the patio in the summer, I've been playing the jazz guitar. That's been going over really well. But I keep thinking, you know, it's bad enough as it is. You know, I have to, like at the Northside Bistro, I walk in there and I can see people go, oh no, it's a guitar. He's probably going to sing, you know. And of course, I just play all this instrumental. And after about half an hour, they start thinking, that's not bad. And then within an hour, they like it. And then by the end of the night, I'm a hero, you see. But it's that thing about, because you know, a lot of other guys walk in places with guitars. And I mean, a lot of guitar players, of course, are worse than I am, you know, at playing. But there's also, like, you know, certain other motivations people have for playing guitar. One of my motivations is try to make money so I can buy more guitars. Some people think it helps them to get women. And I'll tell you, there are two things about that. One thing is like, you can get a woman in your life, but getting rid of her later, I mean, like, you know, like getting out of the relationship can be problematic, and there are movies about that. And the other thing is that I don't really date, you know, women that much, or at all, really, because my wife wouldn't like it. And if I got in trouble with my wife, you know, she might want to divorce me. That'd be very expensive. And she'd end up with half my guitars, right? So I don't, you know, I mean, if I'm appealing to women at these gigs, then I hope they, you know, give me something in the tip jar, or at least say something nice about me to the management, you know what I'm saying? So I'll have me back next week. That's my goal. I'm not, you know, I'm not into it for fame or glory or anything. I'm just trying to sound good, you know? So I guess what I'm nattering on about incoherently is, yeah, I don't know if I'd want to carry this thing into a, you know, I mean, it looks fairly respectable, I think, but a big hollow body with the F-holes and, you know, or like that brown one I was playing, that looks a little bit more respectable. This might be, you know, you expect a guy to go like that. Oh, man. Hang on. Well, I think I just wasted the last quarter of this show. I'm kidding, I wasted a lot more than that. So what happens is, of course, we're here at the TV studio with air-conditioned splendor. Wow, it's too loud. And the room that they're in is air-conditioned, although it may fluctuate more because it's a window air conditioner, and sometimes I turn it off at night and the humidity goes up and down. But it just rained. Ah. Anyway, so my show's almost over, but Mr. Stravinsky just gave me a peace sign, or 2 minutes left. Anyway, you can hear me play Thursday night at the Northside Bistro, 6. Tuscan Moon. Friday, Saturday nights, 6, 6:30 till the party's over. Make reservations there for sure, though. If anybody knows a really good Sunday brunch I could play at, so I get one more gig in, yeah, or a Sunday night wine bar, Sunday, who knows? People don't go out. They go out Sunday night? I don't know. Anyway, I'll be back next week.